The Auto Sears 55mm f1.4 was the standard fast lens that came with the Sears TLS 35mm SLR. The Sears TLS is actually a rebadged Ricoh Singlex TLS, which was supplied by Ricoh and came with the Auto Recanon 55mm f1.4. Both cameras and lenses are exactly the same. Sears, of course, didn't make any cameras or lenses, but instead worked closely with several Japanese manufacturers who provided them with photographic equipment. Back in 1973, the price of the Sears TLS, together with the Auto Sears 55mm f1.4, was $187.50. The optical design of this lens consists of 7 elements in 6 groups. It accepts filters with 55mm diameter. Aperture ranges from f1.4 to f16 with click stops in between. The diaphragm is made of 6 slightly rounded aperture blades. Focus throw is on the long side, approximately 140 degrees. On the back, this lens has an M42 mount. I use an M42 to NEX helicoid adapter, which allows me to focus closer when the adapter is extended, and if I need to reach infinity, I simply put it back in its normal position. This lens weighs 315 grams. The original minimum focusing distance of this lens is 50 centimeters, but when used with a fully extended helicoid adapter, that distance shrinks down to 21 centimeters. The Auto Sears 55mm f1.4 is one amazing lens. It is without a doubt one of my favorite vintage lenses in this focal length. I know that some people who are not familiar with the Sears lens might be put off by its name, but don't let the name fool you. This is an incredible lens that can create some magical photographs. If you appreciate vintage lenses for their unique character, then you'll definitely love this one. There's something very special about the way this lens renders images, and that is one of the reasons why I cherish it so much. Its bokeh or out of focus blur is super painterly and dreamy, definitely some of the best I've seen so far. Shooting this lens wide open is a real joy because it produces truly unique photographs. Everything about it speaks of character. At f1.4, this lens has very nice center sharpness and razor thin depth of field. So extra care must be taken when focusing it at its maximum aperture, but if you nail your focus, you will be surprised at how good its center sharpness is even at f1.4. Of course, when you step it down, sharpness increases across the frame, and by f8 it is one of the sharpest lenses that I have in this focal length. The images it produces have excellent saturation and contrast, and its colors are a bit on the cooler side of the spectrum. When it comes to chromatic aberrations, this lens also scores very highly even in challenging situations without any fringing at all. Since the Sears lens is most likely single coated, it flares quite a bit when pointed towards the sun, so have that in mind. Vignetting is visible at f1.4 and it's completely gone as you stop it down to f8. When it comes to distortion, you will notice a bit of barrel distortion, but that is easily fixed in post. The build quality of this lens is on a very high level. It is made almost entirely out of metal with very solid feel and well-crafted parts. This lens was made to last, and even though it's almost 50 years old, it still functions perfectly well. So, as I mentioned earlier, I absolutely adore this lens. Its unique rendering, excellent sharpness, and magical bokeh make it extra special. So if you're looking for a great nifty 50, this one is definitely one of my favorites and I can highly recommend it. And for those of you who are curious how this lens performs for video, here's a little clip I shot with it at f2.8. Since I have not one, but 2 of these wonderful lenses, I decided to give my extra copy away to someone who might want to try it out. If you would like to be entered in the giveaway, simply leave me a comment below letting me know that you want this awesome vintage lens. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Next time when I release the new video, I'll pick a winner at random and I'll send you the lens no matter where in the world you might be located. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time here at Vintage Optics.